Hi, everybody. My name is Lisa Keslar from Keslar Insurance, and I am here today on behalf of Cheers for Charity New Hampshire with my dear, dear, wonderful friend, JoAnn. Hey, JoAnn.
Hey, Lisa. So good to see you. And yes, I'm JoAnn Burchuk. I'm with Lighthouse Physical Therapy, and we are very excited for another episode of Cheers for Charity. Today, I would love to introduce you to Theresa, and she is with Lydia's House of Hope. And welcome, Theresa. Thank you for joining us today. And please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your organization.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. So my name is Theresa Tozier. I am the founder and executive director of Seeds of Faith Incorporated and Lydia's House of Hope, DBA, as well as last year we were able to also incorporate another home for homeless women and children in crisis. And that's Lydia's House of Hope is a 365-day program, highly structured for women that are homeless from whether it's addiction, domestic violence, alcoholism, trafficking, you name it. And that's who we have here. And nobody is too far gone for us to help. So for a year, they come in, there's no cell phones, there's no TV. They have classes all day, whether it's parenting. We also have a gym, so it's holistic. They work out, Planet Fitness, put a whole gym of 12 different pieces of equipment. We have art therapy, we have physical, we have parenting, financial, you name it, whatever the women need, they have here, as well as case management. So it's individualized case management for every woman. It's not, we don't have a book to say this is our program. It's actually developed around each woman, whatever her needs are. So when she comes in, she can have nothing, and we will make sure she has everything we can possibly give her to be successful, to be independent, self-sufficient. They end up having, do they want a job? What are their goals? And we help them reach those goals. So by the end of the year, they're independent, self-sufficient, they have a savings, they have a vehicle, they have a job, they have a place to live. And so that's our goal.
Holy cow. That is awesome. Now, do the women, do they live at the facility or do they come and take the classes, or both? Do people
here
that also don't live there or
no? So for the last 30 years, I went to my pastor, I don't know how many years ago. And I said, because I was in church and I saw that we did so much for people in the church, and I wanted to help outside the church, and I wanted to help the homeless. That was always my desire, a desire that I've always had. And I went to my pastor and I said, I want to help the homeless. And she said, go ahead. And so we've seen such devastation with the homeless. And you add to that, from homelessness, you add the opioid epidemic, you add the COVID. I mean, it's just gotten worse, and it's grave. When we have women and children come in here, I remember when we for the very first day that we opened, the first of the year, was tragic, because we went from helping the homeless from 30 different programs, outreach programs, to a food pantry that was actually started in my tiny little basement, because we saw families leaving the shelters, going into low income, but having no food. They didn't know how to budget. They didn't have the financial budgeting. They didn't have the tools that they needed for their toolbox. They were a little bit institutionalized, to where they went from homelessness to low income and just living off of the government. And I thought they could do so much more and so much better. So it went from seeing women without food for their children, families living in cars, and fathers degraded. But the greatest tragedy for us that we've seen are the children that fall prey to the generational cycle of homelessness. And so we wanted to be able to not just be a handout, but a hand up. How could we do that? So we created this 365-day program where they would live. So the rooms that they come into, each family has their own room. No matter how many children, we'll facilitate and kind of organize it so that women have their own rooms, and then they have community living. They actually learn how to live with people. They eat at a dinner table where there's real dishes, real silverware, Each woman cooks this big meal. They're so used to eating from a can, and then they have to learn how to grow food and then cook it in a beautiful commercial kitchen that was donated from local Cocos in Kittery, Maine. When we first started the campaign to purchase a building, because we realized here we are trying to help all of these families. And we created all these programs, which was great. I'm not saying we don't need them, we do. But they could do so much more. If you don't have purpose in life, then they find no reason to live. And everybody has a purpose in life. Nobody ever was born wishing they were homeless when they grew up. And so we decided, how can we be not just a handout, but a handout, but a hand up. And so we decided we're going to have this program. So in 2015 to 2016, we had, after creating the program, it took a year to create it. We had a capital campaign, and we decided not to be state or federally funded. So, but we were going to trust God. We raised $450,000 so that we could purchase this house on 21 Grand Street in Somersworth. It was a nursing home, but it was run down for 10 years. It was the board and I came through it, and no, it's too far gone. It is just horrible. But I am so thankful because I could see the learning center where the girls could work at. I could see each room renovated and beautiful. I could just envision the kitchen, having this huge kitchen for the women. And so we purchased it. We raised it $450,000, purchased the house, renovated it for 6 months, opened our doors January of 2017. Now, what is so beautiful, when COVID hit, I remembered being in a place where God, how do you raise funds, $380,000 for the year? And we can't do fundraisers. We can't have people come. We can't do anything. We were like, stopped. We stopped in our tracks. What was beautiful was, even though in that moment, I didn't see how we were going to be able to financially do this, because we couldn't have fundraisers, and we couldn't go out and do anything or bring people in. And that was one of the things we've always done, is invited people, come see what we do and why we do it and why you want to be a part of this. Let us tell you why you want to be a part of helping save these women's lives. This is why. Come see. And that's always been something we've loved doing. Well, we couldn't do that either. And I will never forget the Lord just, do you trust me? And I thought, yes, Lord, I do trust you. The easy thing, now we couldn't tell the girls to go home, and I couldn't tell the staff, you can't come in, because this is where they live. We couldn't close. So we stayed open, and we made it through COVID, and it was by the grace of God. But what was beautiful was last year, on June 15th of last year, 2021, we not only had a donor that came here and paid off our mortgage of $180,000, but another donor on the same day helped us purchase Grace House, which is semi-independent living. So the families graduate from phase 4 here at Lydia's House of Hope into this mansion of a home. It has a wraparound porch and a huge yard, and it's just a beautiful home. It's just such a beautiful testimony of community. It's really community. We still get the gallon of milk at the door once a week because our neighbor wants to make sure that the kids get milk. That is so beautiful. And then you have people that come, and Chris Rondeau gave us Planet Fitness down in our basement, and so many people come in. TurboCam has 2 of our rooms and helps us with Lydia's house and Grace House. It's been phenomenal. And then when we originally named this house, it was New Beginnings Transitional Housing Training Program. I know that's really long and so black and white. And then I sat down with Mona Valdez. This was Lydia's mom and dad, Luis and Mona Valdez. And Mona said, I just want to hear about this capital campaign you're having about New Beginnings Transitional Housing Training Program. And so when I told her what we wanted to do, she said, when our Lydia was at Sunshine Camp, it gave us it was like we didn't have a care in the world, and they so treated us so beautifully. And there was love there and there was hope there. And I said, that's what we want here. That's what we want to offer the women and the children that come here to New Beginnings Transitional Housing Training Program. Well, her and Louise gave us a transformative gift for the house. And we said, you have naming rights, and we're going to call it Lydia's house. And then that's what we give the women of hope. That's how we got our name. So here we are, almost 7 years later. And I'll tell you, the women coming in, it is difficult, it is painful, it is challenging, it is exhausting, it is exhilarating, it is beautiful. It is, I just love what we do. I love that we have an amazing team here. I love that we have great people that laborers that come in and just help with, we have so many teachers that come in and teach these women so that they have tools in the toolbox. That's what they need. A lot of them, we have one young lady since she was 6 years old, has been homeless. What does she know? And you have children raising children. And then you have other women that they were taught that drugs is okay, alcohol is okay, that all those generational, they're generational, and if they're not broken, they continue. And so what we do here is we break those generational cycles of poverty and homelessness so that they have a brighter future, but not just for them, for their children. So their children never have to think, I wonder why we have to go from couch to couch, or why we're living outside in a car, or why we're going hungry again today, or why we don't ever have to rewire their brains, because that's what they're suffering. They're able to come in. And again, community. When we need size 6 sneakers, it comes to the door. When we Dole and Bailey supply us with meat every quarter. They are phenomenal. They help us with meat. We have diapers from, you name it, from churches and individual. We're just yarn. These girls love to crochet. They just love, it's so therapeutic for them, and they love art. Can I show you a picture? One of the girls made this morning, and this so speaks volumes of how tragic and yet beautiful. She never saw herself as an artist. And this is what she came in with. And I just want to show you. This is, can you see this picture? You see her waist?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, can you see that?
Yeah.
Tape measure, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
This is her, this is what goes with the picture. Am I skinny enough now? Am I skinny enough to be loved, to be cherished, to be held, to be carried? When does it stop? Lay off the cheese. That's what I was told at 6 years old. You're going to die early if you keep it up. That's when I was 10. Your words hurt me so bad. It harmed me so much that I couldn't stand looking at myself. Maybe if you were skinnier, came out of the mouth of my first boyfriend when I was 13. This image, this body I never asked for, yet it has ruled my life for years. The thought that maybe, just maybe, if I was skinnier, I'd be loved more has ruined me. This girl has a new beginning. This is not her anymore. It won't be her anymore. She is so beautiful. She's so programmed. She just doesn't see it yet. And our goal, we can't make her at what we want her to be. We just want to find who she is in the first place. And trauma has buried that. Rejection has buried that. Fear has, there's so much in these women's lives that they come in with that they're shackled by these things that from their past, and they don't know how to move forward. So our goal, our job is the case managers, they do a phenomenal job working with them. They're not just case managers because it's their job. They love what they do with these women, and the women love them. They have relationships that they've never had before. They make bonds that when they graduate here, it's not goodbye. Okay, we'll talk to you next week. If they ever, even the very first graduate still contacts us, they're part of the family forever. They're never graduated and that's it. They come back, they work here. We have weekend support. They work here. So they're always welcome back, never goodbye. See you later. So
Awesome. Oh my God. So inspiring, right, JoAnn? Like,
Oh, absolutely amazing. You know, the gift that this brings to so many women, children, like you said, the generations beyond that,
yes.
that benefit, and that they don't grow up with the same conversations about,
Right.
you know, their self-worth or their, you
Right.
know, whatever that is that holds them back and keeps that cycle
Mhm.
of poverty and
Yes.
homelessness
Yes.
alive. And I'm just in awe of the work you guys are doing, and the contribution just goes so far beyond your walls.
Yeah, it does. Thank you.
Yeah.
And it's not easy, but it's beautiful.
Mhm.
And their lives, and it's not a product. It's not numbers. We're not federal or state funded. So there are no strings. There's no numbers. And if you don't have the numbers, these girls can't even pay their rent half the time. We find the money. I don't know how many times we're asked, if I don't have the rent, can I still come in? Do you want the new beginning? Because that means no cell phone, no TV. This is highly structured. It's not for everyone. What? I can't bring my cell phone? What about, can I bring my TV so I can have it for the weekends? No. So it's not a program for everyone. It's a program that if you really want it, we're here for you. We will give you everything that you need, but you have to want it more than we do. And sometimes it's not that way. And if they don't want it more than we do, it doesn't work. So.
So if people, Theresa, if people want to learn more, what's the best way for them to do so?
Go to Lydia's House of Hope, lydiashousenh.org. Or they can call 211, they can call, go on our website, they can call our office number here, 692-3100. They can call anytime. We have a house supervisor, it's always covered. They can leave a message, we'll get back to them. A lot of people will call for a lot of different reasons. But yeah, website is the best way,
Right.
or call 692-3100 right here.
Are you guys at capacity right now, or are there, how
No.
long of a wait would somebody have to be
Well,
on to be able to be admitted?
That's a good question. So we're not at capacity, but we're also, when we got Grace House had to go through a renovation, and it took us till last October, November was our first family in there, family of 5. And then we just filled the second apartment. And now, which not emptied the house, but a lot of the girls graduated into Grace House or graduated. So now, now we'll reach capacity soon. So what they'll do is when they go onto Lydia's House, there's an application. It's 1 page. They fill out that one application. Within 24 hours, we call. And then we have a face-to-face, and within 24 hours, we tell them yes or no and move them in. So it doesn't take long. It just has to be what the background, and they have to come in clean. They can come from a 30-day program. A lot of 30-day programs, Bonfire, or there's a lot of different 30-day programs where they'll come from. We would rather they come from there because they've been clean to come into here. They can come from the prison. They'll call, and we know, okay, they're coming from the prison to here. So they go from door to door. So they're not going back to the toxic environment. I can't tell you how many times someone will call and say, I really need the program. Well, I'm going to go back to my friend's house because they're going to have me, so I don't need the program. And then they call back maybe a year later, you know what, I made a huge mistake, because they go back to that toxicity and think, oh, I'm strong enough. And then because they've not gotten to the root. A lot of times they look good and they feel good and I'm doing really good, but they've never gotten to the root of the problem. You don't know an apple tree until you get apples, but it's the root of their problem until all of a sudden something surfaces and they can't handle it and they go right back to that toxicity. And when they call back, okay, it's sometimes good that they went back, only because I really do need help. Not because they can't do it, but they need the advocacy. They need the resources. And that's what they get here, is advocacy, resources, and family, which is missing from the world.
Yeah, feel so fortunate to have you in our neighborhood to help those people and
Thank you.
get them through. And thank you for all that you do and your staff does. And it's just so necessary, and what a great gift.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. And thank you for sharing with us today some highlights about your really important organization. And we are so grateful that you've taken some time to be with us today.
Thank you.